So Erica, you're the star. Sorry, Jason, I've already talked to you. I am so excited to talk to Erica. You're the star who we've talked to Jason about so many times about how he got hurt in Fallujah. He's there bandaged up. You know, he got blown up, which, you know, they all tell you don't get blown up, but he got blown up, and started hearing the stories, the terrible stories about, unfortunately, too many women who peace out. They cannot handle the stress of what they know is coming their way as fiancés, as wives, as you were. And instead, he woke up to you kissing him and telling him, we got this, I'm with you. And remembering the salt of your tears. Oh, it's so moving. So explain to us, how was that your reaction and not this other one that apparently all the other wives have made?
Yeah, you know, we were fortunate that I think we really had time. So many military families sometimes don't always get that time, but we had really built a good foundation. You know, I don't think either of us had anticipated, you know, we thought about what if he was killed or, you know, all these other things. And I'm a pretty positive person. So I did a pretty good job of pushing all of that. But I don't think either of us ever anticipated, you know, getting severely wounded. That just wasn't something that, you know, we had thought through or really prepared for. So I don't know, you know, he laughs, but I feel like I kind of was in mom mode. Like I didn't think about it. So I think that we just had, you know, we had a really good, strong foundation, and we were fortunate for us when adversity hit. I don't think I thought much about it. I did whatever needed to be done, and I think that made us stronger. But we've seen it where there's so many couples, if there's not that strong foundation, they definitely don't seem to make it through that.
Right, and then these poor guys have the loss of their love in addition to the loss of the life they knew. And it's such a role reversal, let's face it. You know, I mean, when you marry a Navy SEAL, it's like, I think generally like this very strong protector, tough guy, and, you know, you're going to be taken care of. And then to see him severely wounded, and you have to be the protector and the caregiver for a good long while. Of course, Jason never saw life like that, I'm sure, because I've just gotten to know him a little bit. But it is a role reversal, and you can see how it could cause big disruption in even a good marriage. But so your book, I mean, it's about how do you save a marriage and how do you get past this. This wasn't the biggest test of your marriage. It was more after he got through the injuries. And, you know, you tell me, but it's more like Jason, this mental toughness, this thing that led you guys to work on this. Jason gave me a copy of this note that he put outside his door. Hold on, I want to make sure the audience sees it. This mental toughness was very good and got Jason through all those surgeries and so on, but it had a downside. And I would say, from what I read, that was more your toughest period. I'll start with you on that, Jason. What was it? How would you describe what you were doing in your marriage that was not so great?
Well, I think for many of our warriors, you know, so many people want to focus on the physical wounds, and obviously mine I wear on my face, so they really stand out. I mean, people oftentimes they look at amputations and things like that, but so often it's the invisible wounds we carry. I mean, Megyn, you nailed it. I mean, if a marriage comes to an end, oftentimes a career comes to an end. I mean, really, that individual is lost trying to find themselves and where they go from here. And I was starting to encounter that. Although I had a strong family, I was now transitioning out of the military. My SEAL career was ending, and I'll be honest, everything really should be good. I mean, physically, you know, my surgeries were coming to an end, and I was on the path. We had created a nonprofit doing successful things. Our family was good. But I don't know why I started to struggle mentally. You know, combination of post-traumatic stress and transition. And, you know, in the protector community, law enforcement, fire, and military, that's a really hard time for us when you give up something that was so much part of your identity, and now you're stepping into the second phase of your life. And I wasn't managing it well. I think the combination of some of the post-traumatic stress, not sleeping, the combination of the transition led me to self-medicate, drink too much, and start pushing Erica and my family away. And she tried to allow me to figure that out, which is so funny. Almost all of us do the same thing. It's the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be asking for help, but that's hard for us. We're the ones that go save other people. So when we're the ones struggling, it's very difficult to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm really struggling. And I think Erica recognized that. We had built a strong enough foundation. And she tried to give me time, but she recognized I was getting ready to drive off a cliff. And she needed to do something. And she was really smart in how she approached it. And I think the way we had built ourselves, that she knew how to approach it so that I would listen.
I mean, it's so beautiful. It's like, it's very, very strong of you to be able to admit that, because it would be so much easier to say, this is the story. It's all right here. This is the story. You know, saying, I should read it to the audience in part because it's just so amazing, and then I'll finish making my point. But this is what Jason and Erica hung outside of his hospital room, and now this is on display at Walter Reed when he was healing. Attention to all who enter here. If you are coming into this room with sorrow or to feel sorry for my wounds, go elsewhere. The wounds I received, I got in a job I love, doing it for people I love, supporting the freedom of a country I deeply love. I'm incredibly tough and will make a full recovery. What's full? That is the absolute utmost physically my body has the ability to recover. Then I will push that about 20% further through sheer mental tenacity. This room you are about to enter is a room of fun, optimism, and intense, rapid regrowth. If you are not prepared for that, go elsewhere. Signed, the management. I read the whole thing. How can you only read part of that? And so this is important in its own message, and this was exactly the right headspace, I think, for you at the time, and you both shared in it. But then this second piece is so real. It's so real, as the kids say, real, where you get your body and your mental tenacity gets you through the toughest period. And then there's like a resettling. And that can be the most painful part. And the fact that you're admitting it, Jason, as a former Navy SEAL, that's going to help a lot of guys, because they might be going through it right now feeling weak, or like they're the weak one. Everybody else was tough all along and never had this. And the fact that you saw it, Erica, and spoke up to it and actually said to him, I don't want this to be the beginning of the end of our marriage. And that's what it's starting to feel like. That's incredibly powerful.
It was such a shock. And I know, babe, I'll let you go in a second, but I think people need to understand, number one, the most dangerous battlefield we'll ever walk on is right here. And number two, I think people often say to us, like, hey, you guys are so lucky, not everybody has what you have. But we were very intentional. It took years of building ourselves to get to that point. And we had established a rule right from the very beginning. It was part of our rules of engagement that we talk about in the book. You never bring up divorce or the end. I mean, for us, the end was death. That was it. So when Erica said that in that car, I felt like I'd been blown up mentally. It so shocked me that came out of her mouth, that and it wasn't accusatory, like, hey, you need to figure your beep out, or I'm going to divorce you. I mean, it was like a surgeon with a scalpel who made this tiny little surgical cut that penetrated my brain to say, you got to do something here. And I'll turn it over to her, what she was thinking.
Yeah, go ahead, Erica.
So going back to the sign on the door, I was just going to, touch on, that was such a pivotal thing during that time frame. And because Jay is 99% of the time so positive, and that sign absolutely shows that. But that was such a huge thing. And I just think people should never underestimate the power of positivity. It made it easier for me to support him and stand behind him. Not to say that every day was, that we didn't have bad days, some days were a struggle. We hit a lot of roadblocks, but overall, we had music playing, and everybody always said our room was like the fun room. And I think that that's been throughout our relationship, but definitely during that time. And I think so many people can relate to years later when things weren't going right. the kids were good. He was essentially done with surgeries. The nonprofit was doing well. Everything was good. It should have been happy. And, I think we talked about a little bit the rules of engagement, that we were so careful when we were positive. We didn't get into a fight and say, this is it. I want to separate. I want to divorce. Those were things that were off limits. So I think that we had really built that foundation, and we had the trust, so that when I did, kind of say, if we don't do something different, if we don't fix this, this will be the beginning of the end. It absolutely, took it, he took that very seriously, and I'm grateful that he took it serious and took action.
It was seismic. It was like tectonic plate moving because it was so off limits. And I love that rules of engagement, to put it in terms that most military vets can get. That the rules, as I understand them, and my husband and I have these same rules, although I don't know that we've ever written them down like this. But yes, do not. We always say don't make the relationship the stakes of any argument. Which is, I think, the same thing as what you guys are getting at. No name calling. Totally agree. We don't fight below the belt, basically. And I like, you also have don't bring up past, like, transgressions. Do I have them? Am I missing one?
Yeah, you can never say divorce, or no ultimatums. No name calling, no bringing up the past.
That's good. That is what you're really saying. And I got this from them. I don't know them, but they said it publicly, is the famous Kevin Bacon, Kira Sedgwick advice of keep the sex dirty and the fights clean. And it's kind of like a rule to live by in any good marriage, right? Like, when you're at your angriest is when you have to actually have the most self-control in your day-to-day life, because this is someone you love, and you don't win if this person loses. It's a net loss for the relationship, for you, for the family. Tariff wars, stubborn inflation. No wonder gold has been routinely, especially recently, hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like the one we're seeing, do not sit on the sidelines with your head in the sand. You can take control and safeguard your savings. This is why so many Americans today are turning to Birch Gold Group. They have helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. Is it time for you to hedge against economic instability with gold? To learn how to own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account, text MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation info kit. Again, text MK to the number 989898. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless of 5-star reviews, Birch Gold has helped many protect their savings with gold. It took us decades to get into the tangled mess they're now trying to unpack in D.C. How long will it take to get out of that mess? And at what cost? Consider gold as an option. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.